see what's out there.
Hello and welcome to Home Media Minefield Presents Let's See What's Out There Plus, a weekly video stream and podcast currently focused on Star Wars Andor, which is available to watch on Disney Plus. In today's episode, we are going to have a spoiler-filled conversation around episode 9, which is called Nobody's Listening, which we really hope isn't the case with this stream that we're doing today. My name is Keith Isles. I am an independent filmmaker and lifelong enthusiast of movies and television, and Star Wars definitely being one of my favorites. There you go. I've actually had the chance to finally wear my Galaxy's Edge t-shirt, which I bought in 2019 at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney in Hollywood. So, and I forgot I had it, but there you go. But I'm not alone for this. In fact, if you're new here, welcome. Please do consider giving us a thumbs up, liking this video if it's your sort of jam, and checking out some of the other work on the channel. If you like some of the stuff we've got there, please do also consider subscribing. And if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified as and when different content drops. As I said, it's all about film and television, and we talk about a lot of the big franchises on this. But I'm not alone to have these discussions. For those of you who are regulars, you may kind of think that the backdrop here is slightly different to what you're used to seeing. And that's because normally I'm presenting from London, where I'm based, but I'm really pleased to say that I'm doing this from Queens, New York. And I am actually joined on the stream by my very kind host for this week, Pete Mealy.
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good. It's kind of weird to be doing this sort of two Ronnies type. I've even got the glasses on today.
Yeah,
look at
right?
that.
Yeah.
This sort of doing it this way is slightly different, but lots of fun. We did get to do, and please check it out on the channel if you haven't already. We did do a reaction video to this episode while we were watching it here, and we put an edited version of that out. I mean, it didn't get copywritten because of the audio. A few people have actually said it would be great if we could have seen the video as well to see what we were reacting to, but it was just really a bit of fun, wasn't it? So
it was great. It was great. It's been fun having you here.
Yeah, well, thank you. I stayed slightly longer than was originally intended.
It's joyous.
But I do appreciate it. But you know what? We have to have a link to the UK. And what better link than writer, artist, and this man has been literally sat at a keyboard writing for the last several days. I'm surprised he's even had time to watch Andor, let alone join us from the other side of the Atlantic for this episode. But it's Graham Williams.
Oh, hello there, everybody. Oh gosh. Oh, it's good to take a break, guys. I've got blisters on my fingers.
Just explain, please explain for the audience out there that might not have watched.
Yeah, so
you've been very busy writing. Tell us about it.
I have, yes. So I'm currently achieving and really meeting the goal through NaNoWriMo, and that's nanowrimo.org for anybody who wants to check it out. So that's an international challenge to write 50,000 words. It could be of a novel, that's the usual, or it could be a screenplay, or even a theatrical play, or a bunch of stories together, but 50,000 words in 30 days through November. So I was a winner, a guy who achieved it 2 years ago, and I'm tackling it again. I'm tackling my next draft of the novel, which is my debut novel as well, Where the River Bends. So I'm actually really enjoying this year. Got some time off work. So I've been able to focus in on this new draft, this rewrite. So yeah, a big shout out to NaNoWriMo themselves. They've been really active on the social medias and G'ing us on as well. So it's an American-based, or US-based, I should say, organization, but the challenge is open globally.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well done for doing that. I'm really impressed. And we definitely need good writing, Graham. So which
do my best.
We'll come on to for this. So anyway, for anyone who doesn't know the show, we do have a little bit of a format. I mean, basically, it's mainly to give our thoughts and just have a general discussion on the episode and the series so far. We will, of course, be having loads of spoilers in this. So if you have, for some reason, have come to this and haven't actually watched any of the Andor series yet, definitely recommend that you go away and watch that before carrying on with this. But yeah, we do a brief synopsis of the show. We talk about some of the behind the scenes, a few Easter eggs and stuff, and spoil the hell out of it. So but yeah, so we're going to start off then just by a real brief synopsis, and I've been talking way too much, so I'm going to hand over to Pete for this. So Pete, you may fire in 5.
Let me see what's out there.
Isn't it the fire when ready one?
It is fire when ready, but I was just saying fire in fire in 5. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. No, I did that last week.
Yeah.
Fire
Okay. Here we go. Episode 9. Bix gets tortured by Miro, but is kept alive so that she can eventually identify Axis. Cassian continues to work on an escape plan using bathroom breaks to file down a conduit, studying guard patterns when new prisoners show up, but he can't get any additional information from the shift leader, who wants to play by the rules, do his time, and get out. But then something happens on level 2. Rumors fly about everyone being dead, but shift leader keeps everyone in line and moves on. Meanwhile, Mon Mothma continues to make speeches no one listens to about the Empire's overreach. Her cousin shows up, and lo and behold, it's Vess, who in real life is a wealthy socialite. So there's that connection made. The banker shows up and says Mothma needs $400,000 to fix a problem. He wants her to partner with a shady character, but she doesn't want to associate with someone like that. Also, Cyril has been promoted at work, but only his mother is happy about it. He stalks down Miro to push to join her team, but she's not having any of it. And back in her office, they find a rebel ship using a stolen code, so they intercept it and try to use that ship as a decoy and keep the rebel plan going so they can catch them in the act. Back in jail, a medic shows up when the clearly sick old guy gets sick and dies from being old. And the medic tells Andor and shift leader that an inmate from level 4 was released, but returned the next day to level 2, and they ended up killing the entire level. This is the spark that shift leader needs to start helping Cassian. And we'll have to wait for next week for more.
Yay! So, so Graham, as a writer, what do you think of Pete here's synopses?
Whenever I do my synopses, I am channeling Pete Mealy. I try to be as I try to be as succinct, but also pacey as well, and of course as witty. I often make myself chuckle, so I'm winning on that count, and I'm doing it. But whether the rest of the world feels the same, I don't know. But I love these summaries; they're one of my favorites.
Thank you.
There you go. And I've got to make sure I'm in a different environment here,
totally
so
different
I keep
setup. Yeah.
pressing the wrong buttons. So apologies, but you know what? It's time to thank the maker. Okay, right, there we go. Got there. So yes, once again, as last week, this episode is written by Val Williman and directed by Toby Haynes, both of which we discussed their work and their other bits and pieces last week. So I won't repeat that, but I did want to give a shout out because I think we've talked about the look of this show quite a bit, and particularly these prison-based episodes are somewhat unique. So I wanted to give a shout out to the production designer on this, who is Luke Hoare. Luke's work goes back in terms of being art director or working on the art department first. He worked as a set decorator on Prometheus in 2012. He also worked on the film Belle as an assistant art director before moving through up to production designer. He worked on shows such as Fortitude, which was a show that a few years back, and probably his most known credit. He's worked on movies like Confine and Panic as well, but and also the TV miniseries of Howard's End. But the one he's probably best known for prior to this was the miniseries Chernobyl, which I don't know if anybody, by the way, hasn't seen that show. It's quite obviously a hard watch, you know, for obvious reasons, but it's so well made and so well acted and written and performed and everything. So yes, he was quite well known as a production designer for that, and has obviously been selected for Andor. And you know, personally, I think doing a great job. I know we've all talked about that at different points.
Yeah.
Luke Hall, that's what bringing up. Deserved a massive round of applause for his work on this series, especially this episode as well. Because I again went back to notice a lot of juxtapositioning throughout the episode, but we saw, because I went back to it again, that stark, overly brightly lit prison and Nakina 5. And then we went off to the soft, the beautiful, the shapely. Hold with me, bear with me. Mon Mothma's apartment, right? Absolutely stunning, wonderful, wonderful set design, production design as well. So I'm really, really glad you brought it up, Keith, because I just wanted to gush over this. It's you know, we've talked about it in brief because we've had such an amazing, you know, thrilling experience here, but it's just one of those episodes again that you know, it's as if these guys, everyone's gelled. They've picked the right crew as well as cast, and there's a cast I want to talk about too. But yeah, absolutely, just everything about it just seems perfect, but pristine in one way, and then cleansed in another, but brutally cleansed. You know, the prison really is just something that is so inhuman for me. And I genuinely, you know, from the first time they went in, we had Cassian a couple of episodes go in, I felt uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And look where I'm at. You don't believe it, but this is a really soft, comfy sofa, guys. I slept on this last night, but that's my fault for getting a little bit tipsy on my wife's birthday. But this is comfy, and I'm feeling uncomfortable watching this. So props there. Whether I'd want to actually live in Mon Mothma's kind of cleansed, a bit sterile apartment, I don't know. But certainly, you know, it looks like a really gorgeous hotel, doesn't it? You know. To have that privilege, you don't need to write the privilege in, guys. You just see it. Come out from the screen there.
No, absolutely. Well, happy birthday to Nia over there. So I'm glad you got a bit tipsy, as you put it. But yeah, definitely the craftsmanship in this show is abundant and really works.
Yeah, and even when we hop about, we had a bit more of the ISB, didn't we? And even that seems oppressive. Again, there's a lot. They're well lit here. They're better lit than most of the offices I've worked in London. But it's quite an oppressive shell, isn't it? When they go into what effectively is a boardroom, And even when we've been in Ferrix, then it's back to that filth. I can almost smell or taste the rust in the air around us. And again, that the writing's there, but once the camera's on, everything directing, cinematography, but you've got to get great sets. And I read up, I think Keith, you mentioned previously, is that these guys aren't using much of the CGI or any of the CGI and the stagecraft here. They've built physical sets.
Yes,
they've built them, and that's extraordinary in this day and age, if I'm honest, that they've done that. So the actors then are immersing themselves in non-miniature. You really are getting those sets as well. So again, a departure from what we have come used to, right?
No, I think it's got a good balance of location work, as we saw, things being shot in the Highlands of Scotland and whatever, to sets built on backlots, sets built in studios, obviously some set extension and CGI and whatever done in it as well, and everything's in its proper perspective, if you like. And I just think like with all filmmaking, everything's a tool, and stagecraft and the volume is definitely an impressive tool, and is going to be the future of filmmaking and production in general. And because I sort of work in that area, and we've had lots of I was at a forum quite recently about it, actually, which was fascinating. And obviously there's a lot of green initiatives and time saving. In fact, it's strange because it moves the post-production aspect to pre-production. It's really weird. It's changed the workflow of sorry, I'm going off on a huge tangent now about that, but yes, I do like the fact that we got very traditional filmmaking locations and sets and stuff like that.
But I want to I just want to put another one in there, that what we saw again on location, what we saw with Aldani. We're literally, me and the family are looking at our summer holiday for next August 2023, and no kidding, we're looking at that area, which is not too far from where we were staying this year in the in Scotland, so in the lower Highlands there. So we'll be looking to stay, if not visit Aldani.
Yeah, well, no, we all do that. Pete's, because we're in Queens, Pete's been showing me all of the Spider-Man locations, the high school in Aunt May's house, and nice stuff.
I hope they've cleared up all the webbing of the buildings.
Well, no, actually, it's from Halloween. Yeah, it's out from Halloween. Cool.
Brilliant.
All right, well, time to take a drink of that lovely blue milk. Yes.
Oh.
No, I did it again. Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, this is a classic. This one's going to go down in history, guys.
Well, I did my excuse is I did a park run this morning in New Jersey. So it was an early start, a 5K run and back, and get ready for this. So, and I was trying to do the slides and all of that before. So
you're on a whole new setup.
Yeah. So you've got all these people like, we won't subscribe to this channel.
So listen, you may notice that each week there's less and less bantha milk going into these glasses, because and it didn't half play Marielle with your plumbing.
You've milked that bantha, have you?
Oh, Bertha, she does 8 things now, I tell you. Bertha the bantha out in my back garden.
Cool. Well, listen, I don't really have any well, I do have some slides, but it's about another kind of Easter egg. But in terms of this episode, I don't really have any slides because there was nothing sort of too stand out. There was something I thought we were going to get and we didn't. But before all that, was there anything that you spotted, Graham, that you would consider?
I did. And I'm really pleased that you guys picked up on it on your highly entertaining reaction video as well. So for anybody who hasn't seen that, go check it out. It really was a distraction. I had to stop you to go back to my writing because I was like, no, I can't be doing this right now. Yeah, so the torture scene, the first one on Bix, and when the door to the room shuts, that was straight out of A New Hope. So the door shuts, the camera's with it. A guard is walking by, and we follow the guard's footsteps and up. Absolutely brilliant. Just copied straight there, and to great effect as well as it was in it. And so that was A New Hope, and here as well. That was huge, and I've not noticed any of those. We've always looked in screen, or sorry, what's in the frame, right?
Yes.
Whereas this one, for me, again, I'm not an uber geek, but I haven't spotted any George Lucas-esque maneuvers. We're not having the swipes or the ellipses. We're not having any of that. So that was the first one I've noticed this series, and obviously very pleased.
It's almost like having a music cue.
Yeah,
but a camera-based one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. Although I thought, and I said we were talking, weren't we? I thought we were going to see the mind probe, the interrogation droid, and I thought they were going to bring that in with the syringe, just like they did. And of course, that's not what we got. We got that kind of headset.
We got something far more horribly evil and despicable.
Yeah. But were there any others that stood out to you, Graham? Other than the obvious.
No. I've got to be honest. No, not even with any of the dialogue as well. Listening out for character names, because there was a few mentions this time round. There were mentions of planets, of course, within the ISB, but not being any uber geek, I didn't really pick up on any that would have been taken from novels or the games or the comics.
You didn't recognize the name of the gangster that they want Mon Mothma to associate with, right?
No, yeah, same here, Pete. Didn't pick up again. Not an uber geek, so I'm sure it's out there. And I haven't looked up. I wanted to chat to you guys first before diving into the world of nerdness, the nerd world, the nerdiverse, or whatever it was, the geekiverse. But with that avian logoed social media platform having a lot of controversy this week, I didn't really want to be hopping there. So there we are.
Right. What about you, Pete? Anything for you?
I don't notice anything. I did ask you while we were watching it, is that anything? And you're like, no, I don't think so. And
I actually don't think it is. No.
Yeah. And also the rebel plan that they're trying to hijack, a bombing or something of a moon base. And I was like, I don't know what that is. But I don't think we know enough, right? Like just us being us.
No. Exactly.
No, we've got a reference, but nothing there. No. Although again, going back to your reaction video, it did seem that there was a cross-universe Star Trek.
Yes.
With the medic.
The Blue Medical.
Yeah. Blue Medical. I love that.
Yeah. It was like kind of. As I said, we were just having a bit of fun there.
Yeah.
We
were going to watch it together anyway.
Yeah. So it was cool. I've got a bit of a kind of weird a weird personal Easter egg, which sort of came from this. So yeah, let me just explain. So back in 2017, they had an exhibition here in London called they're in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, called Star Wars Identities, which was just a bit of a exhibition showing props, costumes, and stories and bits of fun and whatever. And I went. I'm pictured there. I don't know whether any of them listen to this this stream or podcast, but there's my friends Zav and Tyrone. Tyrone's obviously now living back in New Zealand, but this was when he used to live over there. And we just went to visit this exhibit while it lasted. I think this was probably the final weekend or whatever. And we went round, and one of the things that you had to do was, again, it was just supposed to be a bit of fun, but you put your name and some of the traits that you like of Star Wars characters into this computer, and it basically generates an identity for you, okay, based on certain things, certain traits that you'd like to have, and it kind of uses your name as a bit of a anagram almost for the character. And we were talking about the fact that at the moment Cassian is going under another alias that we haven't actually mentioned, called Keith Gergo, but not Keith as in my Keith, but Keef Gergo, right? As a character. And weirdly, this is so weird because we have to remember this was in 2017, long before anything came. My alias it created was Keith. And there you go. I was a Jedi Knight, but had a little bit of Corellian smuggler in the mix as well. I don't quite know. And it was some sort of alien.
Yeah, a little bit of Darth Maul head horns.
Yeah. I don't know quite what that was, but this was the thing it came up with. And it's just quite funny that the spelling that it changed my name to is, now Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that just for a bit of fun again.
That is great.
Yeah,
that is awesome, brilliant. So yeah, if not in Andor, we may have a PWT there coming up, and we'll have some variety on the Graham, right?
I think my Star Wars handle would be Juan Solo, as a pale man. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you and good night. Yes.
That's hilarious. There we go. Right. Well, time for a bit of speculation.
Yeah.
Wow, I actually hit the right button. So it's never tell me the odds or I've got a bad feeling about this, depending on your, how you feel about it. But Graham, start with you. Anything, any particular speculation or anything?
Yes. Thanks, Keith. Right. Okay. We really got it fucking wrong last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just got it wrong completely. And I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. Right.
Yeah.
So, Luthen, in this 12-episode run, he's going to get killed. There you go. We've got 3 more episodes for this half. Luthen is not going to be in the second half. There is going to be a prison break. It's going to happen. One of these episodes, we're going to have a prison break. We were expecting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. We had 7, 8, 9, and we're going to get it, and it isn't. So now we've got Andy Serkis, who was Keenan Loy. He's turned brilliantly right at the end. Boom, turned.
Brilliant.
Right.
We're gonna have a prison break. It's gonna get messy. Andor.
Yeah.
Hold on, right? Andor is going to survive.
Yeah. That's a really out there one. That is, yeah. But just on that, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we talked last week about the fact that episode 7 actually had a different director and writer, right? Apparently, I read a thing with Tony Gilroy this week because, as I said, I read up about the stuff after we've done the show just to try and make this show hopefully a bit more entertaining rather than just quoting everything that's been researched. But I did find out that apparently episode 7 was a standalone. So the arc ends next week, and then we've got a 2-part finale. So that's kind of how they decided to do it, which was why the writer-director combo thing shifted an episode. So they made 7 kind of well, 7 was the one with the time jump, wasn't it? So it was kind of fitting in between a standard. I say standalone. Obviously, it's all one narrative, of course, but in terms of the mini arcs. So yes, this was the 2nd episode of that mini arc, which is obviously going to finish with
10.
The prison break, and then obviously we're going to have essentially a 2-part finale with episodes 11 and 12, which makes me sad to think we're that close to the show end. But
what's going to absolutely do our heads in, as we say over here, the other side of the pond, is that we'll have to wait 3 months then for the second 12.
Yeah.
So we're going to be bereft of Andor. For
you said 3 months.
Well, it's going to be because it finishes mid-November or end of November. Then we've got December, January, February, right? Did I read that right? That February we return.
I'm not sure.
I didn't read when it was going to return.
I don't know is the answer to that. All I know is we got loads of stuff because we've got.
I could be wrong, guys, because I do remember that actually February is Mandalorian season 3.
I was going to say
we could be going after that. We could be going after that, but still, Mandalorian has just been fantastic in the Star Wars galaxy too. So at least we'll get some Star Wars there too. So we may be bereft of Star Wars for 3 months, and then Mando, and then Andor, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't imagine they'd cross those two, but they haven't been of late, apart from obviously Tales of the Jedi, but they're more standalone in themselves anyway.
Filler. Tales of the Jedi, filler. No.
No. Have you seen it?
Different podcast.
What was I going to say? By the way, you mentioned Stellan Skarsgård again, and I forgot to mention he is actually in Chernobyl. He was one of the characters in that as well. So there's another connection. But
absolutely no. It's noble. I think for me it was the first proper real life political horror. It's a mashup of genres, you think, because it's utterly brutal, but wonderfully done, and so tense, but quite horrific too. So for us in Europe, who remember it and remember the literally fallout from that time, and to dramatise something that a lot of us could still remember, was brave. And utterly brilliant. So yes, Stellan Skarsgård was a key player in that story.
He was great actor. So Pete, anything you want to add speculation wise?
Speculation wise, I'm going to go one step further than Graham, who said Luthen's not going to survive, and I think that Vess is not going to survive.
Okay.
Vel.
Yeah. Okay.
Vel? Yeah. The socialite cousin who.
Yes. The leader of the heist.
Yeah. Which was a nice. That was kind of a nice surprise in this episode.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Again, another one of these sleights of hand in this episode. I thought that they did exceptionally
Yeah.
well there. But another prediction is, because they've been building up the tension, now that we've heard through excellent dialogue and the it's almost like the creme de la creme within the ISB now, and Miro's one of them, are plotting their anti-heist, aren't they? They're kind of going to wait for the heist to happen with this Anton Krieger fella.
Mm-hmm.
With parallels there, of course, with Rebel Pilot. We had that in Rogue One, Rebel Pilot this time,
Yeah.
I think they're going to commit to that heist that this time really does go wrong. Because that's where I think Luthen will be pulled in, because he, last episode with Saw Gerrera, was trying to sell him Anton Krieger. So I think Luthen will go it alone on this one because he's confident. So, if you want to say that's what happened with Heat, he had this guy who knows how to get on the inside, but there's a tip-off through there, which obviously is the bank heist, which is the main turning point in Heat, the movie. So I think they're going to commit to the heist and give us a knockout. I don't know how. I haven't really worked out how Cassian would be involved there, if at all. But there's got to be some fallout from him now, right? Because he now, in escaping, has to turn to the rebels. We've already needed that jolt from him. We've got that by seeing how brutal the Empire is, or he tries to go back to Ferrix and sees the mess that Bix is in. But one thing there is that we'll then also get Cassian turning. I think he'll turn before the second 12. He will be part of the Rebel force, whichever one it is. We won't get the Rebel Alliance coming together until the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think episode 10 is going to have the bank, the second heist and the prison break? I think that's too much, right?
No, I don't think so. I think in the next 3, Pete. I think before 12. I'm just stretching. I'm going all the way through now.
The finale could be the finale could be the second heist, maybe.
The finale probably the second heist, which goes bad, sets up the season 2. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Next week's prison break. I have no idea.
Yeah. We're getting that.
Yes.
Next week is when he takes off his jumpsuit to reveal he's got the tattoo.
The hologram tattoo of the plans. Yeah. That sounds good. I think we should get into our thoughts. So time for From a Certain Point of View. There you go. I finally got my act together.
No, honestly, you're being too hard on yourself. You've done at least 3 correctly. 3 out of 6 ain't bad.
Listen, you're skirting 50%, Keith. This is good, man.
In today's day and age, you're fine.
Yes, indeed. So,
okay.
So, who wants to start?
You guys, please. I'm really interested to hear.
I'll go first.
Please do.
I think that this episode is fantastic. It is surprising how much they are able to do with just well-written dialogue and great acting and great set design. Because there is almost no action in this episode, but I was hanging on every word. And every little sort of eyebrow twitch, every sort of tooth jut coming from Miro, right? Like, this was fantastic work on this episode.
Yep.
That's my point of view.
Okay. Graham?
Yeah. I was not niggled by Edie Khan's nagging, nor was I miffed at Cyril with his cereal this time. I was like, yeah, absolutely. It really worked. And the fact that you saw him being so belligerent to his mother, who was just at him, and that's a great written scene, because that arc was she's at him, and then as soon as he says he's got a promotion, she's putty in his hands. But before then, obviously, he'd been a child and slurping. Haven't we all but done that to No, we haven't. Okay, I'll stop there. But no. That was utterly brilliant. And then to see another character of him when he is stalking Miro as well, all of that was utterly brilliant and horrible. You just really how can we peel more layers off a character? We're so far in. Are we looking at plot? No, let's look at character that the writers are maybe thinking there, because they've peeled away a couple more layers of Cyril, for heaven's sake, and look at him now. Still a very dislikable character, but well done them on still making him not.
Am I the only one who got sexual tension between Cyril and Miro? Right in that scene outside of her job. Am I? That's too much for me. Okay, that was too much of my own life. I apologize.
But no, maybe because I love her. I love her the acting, because there's a constant sneer on her face. But yeah, maybe this is how evil people do foreplay or chatting up.
That's exactly what I thought it was like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An imperial bar.
The immediate scene after that is her in her office, and she sort of takes off her hat, and it's like, oh. I was like, oh. Anyway.
Yeah. I didn't get this. I mean, I think Cyril might kind of be interested in her, but I didn't get any vibes the other way around at all.
When's the last time you were in an imperial bar? Maybe that's how they do it. It's just like there's playing hard to get.
Yes.
Right. And then there's the Empire. And we'll crawl over each other. So you've got to work to get into my pants, dude. Come on, you've really got to be here. I'm sure that's what the ladies and the gents, of course, in the Empire really do say or think.
Yes. No, there you go. No, I mean, what is great is none of this is as we are prime examples of with our predictions. None of this is predictable.
Yeah.
And this is what I think so good is every week we get really good character drama, regardless of whether, I've heard people say about how some of the episodes are a bit slow and a bit boring and all of this, which I don't necessarily agree with, because I think we get a nice balance of, obviously the movies are all about action because they're 2-hour movies. Yeah. But we're essentially dealing with a 10-hour movie 12. If you want it. Well, it's 12, but by the time you take all the bits out, so it's like a sort of 10-hour movie or whatever here, and therefore it's got time to breathe. It's got time for the characters to develop. We've got a massive ensemble when you think about it. I mean, we're cutting backwards and forwards between the ISB and the rebels and prisoners and Mon Mothma and the Senate, and we're all over the place, aren't we? It's I mean, there's so much they're cramming in here, but I love the whole you can tell Gilroy is behind a lot of the Bourne movies, because you definitely have that kind of with the interrogation scenes and everything. There's that whole kind of spy tech, feel, or low tech in this case, but feel and all of that sort of stuff. And
the Prison Break too has that sort of Bourne, how's he going to do it mentality.
Yeah, with a bit of THX 1138 aesthetic, as we were saying, with all the white and but what a horrible, what an absolutely horrible situation. And I know they've been setting things up like, Cass or Keith made the comment about how on the platform that's not electrified because they're not wearing the boots when they come down. So obviously that's going to play into but how on earth they're going to make this break? I just don't even know how it's going to work. It seems this is the good thing. Like any good Prison Break movie or show, it seems impossible, right? So
but
how are they
going to have another time
do
jump?
it? Well, I'm excited to find out. Oh, Oh,
Absolutely.
I'm excited to find out. Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah. So we can have we don't have to
Conclusion?
go next day. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm very much excited to see how they do it and how they then escape, because Cassian's going to be the pilot. Yeah. So he piloted
Yeah.
previously.
Yeah.
So we know he's going to survive. Who else is going to? And so from a certain point of view, halfway through this episode, Andy Serkis's character, was nowhere near converting. And just through couple of scenes, him starting to panic, and you can see that the cogs being forced to turn in his head, and that line right at the end, the final thing we had with the episode, music building up, he's turned. That's it now. He's committed. He's in. And Cassian had been working on him, and he just wasn't a convert. Utterly brilliant to have the patience. There were two bits of patience in this episode. There was that, to be patient enough not to force the hand straight away and have it right at the end, leave it for the cliffhanger. And the other one, of course, where you started off there, Keith, was the torture scene, because it's a speech, okay, but it's delicately done. Why is this guy talking about this race getting killed? And just, that takes writers' balls to do that, because people, to actually say, to tell a story, but lead you in an unpredictable fashion to then build up to that. I really take note of how they did that, to have the patience that your audience will have patience, to actually say your audience will follow us here, and then to do that, I thought was horrible. What they've just described to us, and we don't all have to have great imaginations to really understand that, because we do that. And there's even a take a tiny scene which has been not de rigueur for these guys, is that they had a tiny, maybe 10, 15 seconds of Bix's suffering right sandwiched in between. And I thought, wow, what an editorial decision that was to slot that one in, because it was enough to pull that away and then slot it in later to see that she is suffering before we go back to us.
And I really like the fact that they didn't, again, they're treating the audience with respect as well. We didn't hear what she's hearing, and I like that.
The sound design in that episode, that scene was fantastic. The use of silence, the the use of background noise, and then her screaming, it was great work. I apologize for the sound design here.
There you go. Now that was really good. The other thing, it's great that Andy Serkis is getting some, really good stuff to work with here in Star Wars. Finally, he's being used from his strengths here. A great role. I mean, that whole euthanized scene was
amazing.
That was horrible to watch, frankly, wasn't it? It was.
But Christopher Fairbank, the actor. Sorry, you interrupt. No, I was just saying, Christopher Fairbank. I know him from the early '80s on British TV.
Or Wiedersehen, Pet.
Yeah,
Mogsy and Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, and also he was in the beginning of Tim Burton's Batman, wasn't he? He's the one.
He was. He's the one who says, "What are you?"
Batman. Yeah,
the buyer in Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's got.
Oh right, yes, of course, yeah.
He's
done all right for himself, hasn't he? Really?
No, utterly horrible to do. Brilliant, because what you thought, what was his character, and there's been a purpose there, but a horrible scene, but a very honest scene as well, very un-Star Wars in its humanity almost, because he was actually being quite adult there, because you're looking at a doctor a medic who is actually a prisoner, and also there's that tension. Pete said it. There was not any action, but there was dialogue, and he was just there, wasn't it? There was a guard there. This guy was getting killed. That for all those medics out there, or people who work in medicine, there is sometimes a cheerful honesty, but an assertiveness to doctors, nurses, and medics that we know, and he had that too, which was again came out as quite really honest in a character, and who knew that was a turning point again to turn. They could actually squeeze dialogue in really quickly. That they had to hurry up. There was that they hadn't put you've got 2 minutes. You didn't need to say there's 2 minutes. Let's get all the dialogue in. It was they're being hurried up, and they're just snippets and questions and trying to get there. And again, as a writer, really just picking up notes on how to just get on with it. You're in a scene. You don't know how to really finish up, how to hurry it up. You don't have to add a ticking clock.
Yeah.
A physical one. You don't have to have that. You get that a lot in like the heist movies, don't you? 3 minutes, and ticking down. We've had it already, but in this one, there was a situation that didn't necessarily. You wouldn't start there, but they did. They hurried it up, and it made it more of a thriller. This one, a thrilling episode, I feel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm liking. I don't think this is a show that's definitely more for adults and less for kids.
For sure.
And it's quite funny what all the studios are now doing in this world of streaming and needing constant content with the IPs is, we're getting a real variety within those universes. So, as you mentioned, we watch, we won't go all into it now, but we watch some Tales of the Jedi as well, right? Which is very much, I think a kid's show for sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Then we've got Andor here, on the Star Trek side of things, which again is a whole nother stream. But there was an announcement this week that they're making a horror-based Star Trek series. Obviously, Star Trek has always been sort of an action adventure exploration show, but we've had comedy with it, with Lower Decks. We've had a kids show with Prodigy. We've got some sort of more nostalgic Star Trek with Strange New Worlds and whatever. So you exactly, you've got something for everyone. But and as I said, they're now talking about this. Mixing the horror genre within the Star Trek universe, which kind of excites me because that's my jam, if you like, horror and Star Trek. I can't think of a better combination. But so we got that, but like this as well, Star Wars and espionage thriller, and it kind of totally works. It totally works. Yeah. But then we still got the stuff for, the kids, and it seems, there's something for everyone now, just based in these different genres, but based within these sci-fi universes.
And why not?
Yeah, why not?
In Star Trek, they could base it the horror from Deep Space Nine, because there was a lot of darkness there. Me, I'm a Deep Space Nine fan. Andor's doing that. There was horror in here, guys. I felt that with the torture scene. There's been elements of humor here. We've had a lot of humor through Star Wars before, so I'm a-okay with having a more adult one. I heard you, Keith, say on the back to the reaction video, this is the Star Wars I've wanted since I was a kid.
Oh dear, yes. That's the trouble with filming a reaction video. It's there. But I mean, we did actually record the whole thing, so there's like 42 minutes or whatever of us reacting. But I thought, well, I'm not expecting people to watch that, so that's why we just sort of edited it down to 10 minutes of the of key stuff, and
that's for the 4K UHD release version, right? The director's cut.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah. Tony Gilroy asked us specifically to do it.
I just think the fact that this episode's called Nobody's Listening is so apt. But there you go. So Loving it still, loving it.
Loving it.
But anything else you want to add? Any nitpicks, Graham? Is there anything that, even though you thought this episode was great, anything that you're like, that annoyed me, I wish that was different? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
let's do it. Right, okay. Challenge accepted. Okay, so here we go. Sound design people, when somebody is doing this to crick their neck, and then just do this, the neck doesn't crick. Okay, so Miro has that. She does that once. Yeah, so that. Obviously, I am clutching at all straws. Right, I am feet up in the barrel with a tiny spoon, just really scraping here. I'm really just trying to find one niggle with this episode, and I'm gonna put that out there. And that's it. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of sound design that was just not right.
They should have used the celery instead of the wood brace. Huh?
Yeah. So something maybe massaging a cabbage, something along those lines, right?
Indeed. Pete, what about you? Now you're so amused.
No notes. Crushed it. Yeah.
I did like when it ended. That was again so genuine,
so real.
Because occasionally I looked just to see if it was still recording. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's still recording." But by the end, was so immersed in the episode that
I was 100% immersed.
Yeah, it was like, 100%. and that when the directed by
because you really wanted to see the heist. Totally
forgot how much time had passed.
Yeah, I wanted more. I wanted more right then and there.
Yeah.
You have to wait.
So that's really cool. But So anything you want to add, Graham?
No. We talked a lot. We could talk. But we could talk about the paranoia that's been built up. The tension. We could gush more. I could get into the actors individually. My God, we could be here for a couple more hours. So I'll leave that for now. I know we're going to have plenty more opportunity over the next 3 weeks and into 2023 with the next 12 of this, guys.
Sure. Oh well, we're coming up to the hour anyway, so time to use the comm link. All right. So, Pete, do you want to tell us people how they can get in touch?
If you found this here on Home Media Mindfield's YouTube channel, please do check out the podcast at LSWOT Cast on all good social medias. You probably have to type out "Let's see what's out there" into any podcasting catcher. So please do that. I can be found on Twitter at Too Many E's. And Keith, where can people find more of you and your work?
If you go to you're obviously here, so check out the work on Home Media Minefield, all sorts of things on here, movie and TV related and physical media, etc. But yeah, I've got another channel which is British Isles. That's EYLES, as in my last name. And you can find short films that I've made there. Please do. It would be lovely to get more views and watches and feedback. So please do check that out if you're so inclined. And also, I want to give a shout out to Neil Myers, who does the theme that we use for this show. Neil's music can be found at neilmyersmusic.com. So, you've already talked about your NaNoWriMo. So
I have indeed, yes. But for those who have possibly skipped ahead, NaNoWriMo.org, that's the handle there. And challenge getting through. I am day 5 in, and for 50k, 50,000 words needed, I'm 11 and a half through. So very pleased with progress. Pleased with a bit more of the coherent nature of the story that I'm writing as well. If you're writing so damn fast, can always be coherent. So very pleased there.
Yeah, cool. Well, that just leaves me to say thank you, Graham, for joining us. Thank you, Pete, for allowing me to visit and stay.
Thank you for being here. It's been fun.
It's been amazing to try this, and thank you anyone who is still watching this. I really appreciate it, and we'll speak to you next time on
Let's see what's out there. Wow, it did not get easier, even though we're in the same room.
It didn't, did it?
Okay,
No.
okay.
There we go. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys.